Hey everybody, CJ here at Etten Games. Welcome to episode 3 of In the Dragon's Den. Today we have one of our employees, Derek Worth, but that's not what we're going to be talking to him about today. We're actually going to be talking to him about his own paint line and basing material line called Crystalarium paints.
That's correct.
And we carry them in the store now, and so we want you guys to know a little bit about it. So, Derek, why don't you first off tell us what made you decide to do this on your own?
So it's a combination of factors. Originally, it was built as a cost-saving measure for me. As we know, the hobby gets incredibly expensive, so I started learning how to make the products on my own. And as I started making my own products, people started to notice, and some of my friends would ask to borrow some of them. Obviously, you can't borrow paint, so it was always kind of silly for me. But as more and more people borrowed it, we know that getting certain hobby supplies is fairly difficult in our line, especially when it comes to making sure that everything stays in stock, stuff goes fast, and
something new comes out, everybody wants it.
Exactly. And so really I just devised this as a way to just make sure that we have mainstay products for all the hobbyists. And as people, again, enjoyed the products more and more, I decided to say, hey, if you can loan me a couple bucks so that way I can make sure I can keep things in stock. And they said, sure. And so that's kind of where it started off at.
Seems like a lot of small hobby businesses tend to start off that way anyway. So just like, I'm tired of not being able to find X, I'll just make it myself.
Exactly.
Yeah. So that's cool. So why don't you tell us a little bit about the different products that you got?
Sure thing. So we start with my first product. So this was the flagship. It's, mind the joke, it's Big D's Basics Kit. It's essentially a kit made for people who aren't really keen on basing or don't know where to start, because it can be very intimidating when you look at some of these really nice craft bases. I just devised this as a way to, hey, put them on a nice foresty base. Here's all the products you need, all in one kit. Don't even need to go buy the glue or the basing brushes for it. Just pick this up for 15 bucks. And people absolutely love it. I've actually gotten a couple photos of people's combat patrols all based up with it.
Oh, that's cool.
Right?
Yeah.
Next came what was the original product I made was the Crystalarium Pro Filter washes. These, I essentially devised contrast paint before contrast paint became contrast paint because I really needed something that was in between something that's fast to paint with and a glaze. And I'm a very traditionalist when it comes to my painting. I absolutely love the new speed paints and all that, but I also really like to glaze. And this is kind of like that perfect in between those steps.
For people that watching that may not know exactly what glazing is, do you mind?
Absolutely. So glazing is a technique where you make an incredibly thin paint and you dry your brush just enough to where a very, very thin coat comes off the brush. It's incredibly faint when you first start painting with it, but as you add successive layers, you get a very beautiful gradient on your miniatures.
Yeah, and that's a really good way to achieve that almost airbrushed look.
Exactly.
Without having an airbrush, right? So, but you've got more than just those colors, of course.
Oh, absolutely. I believe my line is up to 24 colors. So.
And we have all of them here.
We have most of them. I'm still restocking some of them.
Okay.
Having to reformulate a couple others, but that's just the business in general. Some ingredients change, and you have to figure out how to make it to where they don't accidentally gel up in the bottle, because we don't want to be doing that.
Right. And then you've got basing textures as well, correct?
Indeed.
Okay.
So I have two kinds right now, technically three, but there's technically two in the textured line. There is just my normal basing butter. Trench mud was the flagship of it. It's just straight up mud in a can, just clean mud. But we also have an oxide crust. We have the, I forgot what it is, Urban Firefight. Geez, you'd think I'd remember this.
It's okay.
But we also have Blizzard Warning, which is a whiteout, snow-based effect, and they are coarse textures, so they actually do show up very well. They wash very well.
Yeah, I've tried them.
Yeah, they are mildly sculptable, so you can actually get really nice ridges in your base too. Some of them kind of dry really flat.
The one that I used, remember I made like a road.
Yeah.
And it had a crack, and then I painted the yellow lines, and it looked like asphalt. It was great.
So funny you mentioned that. You actually used Besiege City, which is a crackle paint line.
Oh, okay.
So it does mild cracking. It's not super, it's not super fine cracks, So you can actually really get some nice, just broken apart road effects with it.
And not have to worry about that kind of spider webby.
Exactly. And so it also helps because it adheres better to your base.
Oh, excellent. Do they stick without a primer being on the base? Can you just slap it right on, or would you still
I would still
recommend?
I would still use a thin layer of PVA glue for those at home. Elmer's, wallpaper glue, wood glues, those are all PVA glues. But once you slap it on top of there, you'll want to let it dry for 24 to 72 hours. That's just the given minimum when it comes to crackle effects, because it's not apparent when it first dries. It definitely grows into the cracks.
And putting that layer of PVA glue is to give it like a smoother surface so it doesn't have as much to grab onto and it cracks better.
Agreed.
Right? Yeah.
And PVA is also slightly reactivating, so it helps adhere the cracked parts to your base.
Very cool.
Next in line, we have what I'm incredibly excited about, the shattered ice effects. So I call this part of my Ultra Effects line. This is actually just, you paint it on, and it cracks clear as ice. This is one you haven't actually gotten to play
I haven't gotten
around
to play
with yet.
with that one yet.
And I'm going to give you a can before we go.
Good.
Because it's frankly one of my favorite. And this does spider web a little bit, but if you want those extreme cracks on your ice, this is just the product to use.
Spider webbing with ice effects is okay.
Yeah.
You know.
I've also painted it on frost blades and all that to give it the look that they were iced over and it's cracking out with the swords. So I really like that one. One of my newer products is our Terra Firma line. So one is actually named Terra Firma, one is Homeworld, but it's just battle turf. It's
static grass.
Yeah. It's a natural fiber based flocking, so it's not as fake feeling as some static grasses can be. And I love all kinds of static grass. Don't get me wrong. It's just sometimes you really want that natural fiber.
Yeah. And it works well through a static grass applicator like the one you built?
Yep, the one I shocked myself with twice.
Let's talk about this one. So I just came home from ReaperCon a couple days ago, and one of our friends was using this brush soap, and he had nothing but amazing things to say about it. He said he'll never go back to using Masters. He said he loves just the smell. He loves the feeling of his brush when it's done and just how good it cleans. So why don't you tell us what is it about your brush soap, man, that makes it so good?
So there's kind of two aspects to it. One, I actually used to be in beauty and cosmetics. I was a perfumist for a couple years, just as a hobbyist, mind you. But one of the things I learned is how soap and saponification works and how it affects the natural fibers of our body. And so I wanted to create a soap that could actually replicate a shampoo effect, but for brushes. So a lot of the brush soaps that we have on the market right now are soft, super fat laden brush soaps. Good stuff until you start having splitting hairs and all that. This actually uses a combination of kaolin clay and jojoba oil, jojoba, jojoba or jojoba, and actually replicates a shampoo. But the hard soap will actually create a brush stiffening, like a stiffener for it. And as it dries, you can use it to sculpt your brushes.
That's fascinating.
Yep.
Well, hey, take it from me. It works really, really good too.
Yeah. I had a little bit of fragrance just because like some brush soaps, love them to death, but man, I don't need to smell that.
yeah. And it does. I mean, it does smell good. I mean, it smells like you're cleaning, and it's just, it's good.
Yeah, I was really happy about it. And then the newest thing on the line, you can tell it's new because I haven't even gotten all the proper labels. I'm doing sculpted effect bases.
Okay.
This is kind of like the next step to the basics kit. Is instead of like making your own bases, if you want to explore that, just buy some pre-sculpted ones.
And so these are things that you've made using the stuff in here, and then you've cast it, or what?
So this is a combination. So this one was made with my sculpting mud. It was made using a PVC sheeting, and then of course like some sculpted skulls and all that. And then after that, I just cast the base up and just started recasting them out.
Fantastic.
And so it comes with a couple sizes. I have the 32s, I have 40 millimeters, I have the, if you're a big Outriders fan for bikes and all that in 40K.
You got your ovals?
Yeah, I got the oval bases. And then I also have the 100 millimeter.
Excellent. Yeah.
And I hope to do a lot more in the future with them.
And I mean, you're the only member of your company, right?
Right now, yes.
So I mean, there's a lot of love that goes into that gets put into making this stuff. So I think that makes it even more special, especially these bases. I mean, he's. I watched him do it. He's casting these on his own. So, and they're coming out great. So yeah, but we've got your almost you said,
yep,
almost your entire line here available at the store. Really comparable prices too. I mean, how much is one of these?
So it's 1 ounce for $6.
Okay. So, and then this is 15. Your basing butters are
butters are 10, and if you want the cracking effect, it's 15.
15.
I hope to be working on that out soon, just because I'm trying to get like better rates when it comes to materials.
Sure.
The grass is $6, and really this is more so just because it's labor. The Ultra FX, the shatter, is $5, which for the fact that I believe this is a half ounce. Yes, it's a half ounce. For a half ounce, $5 for a shatter effect.
Yeah.
You really can't beat that. And then, of course, the bases do tend to vary, but it's typically $1 per base for the smaller bases.
It comes with 10.
Exactly. And then for the 100 millimeter, it's 5. For the oval, I believe it's 3.
Okay.
It just covers the cost of the resin, because that's kind of more of a labor of love, honestly.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, because you're pouring it, you're letting it set, you're hoping it didn't mess up.
Yeah.
Peel them out and all that. Yeah.
I have a lot at home that I'm just like, this isn't good enough.
Yeah, that's most of the things that I tried to recast came out that way, so I get it. And then how much is the brush soap?
The brush soap is $6 per can, and this should last you quite a few sets.
A steal. So good. Well, Derek, thank you so much for talking to us.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for bringing me on.
You know, it's always good to have you around.
Yep.
So,
look forward to many, many years of working with you.
Yeah, so you want to just get back to work, I think, maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But are they going to like and subscribe first?
Oh, yeah. You should like and subscribe. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. Thanks for the reminder.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, man. Thank you so much, dude. Yeah, come on down and check this stuff out at Etten Games. Remember, your adventures begin here. We'll talk to you later. Bye.